Hello everyone, my name is Robertson, and today I'm going to be talking about Mount Rainier. And anything I say or reference in this presentation will be at the end in my resources slide. So, what is Mount Rainier? It's an active stratovolcano in the Pacific Northwest, and it's located in the state of Washington. It's a part of the Cascade Mountain Range. It was recognized on March 2nd of 1899 as America's fifth national park, which helped the national park programs that were eventually led by Teddy Roosevelt. Mount Rainier is the highest volcanic peak in the contiguous United States, and it is the largest alpine glacial system outside of Alaska and is the world's largest volcanic glacier cave system, which is very interesting. So, what is a stratovolcano or stratovolcano? It's a tall cone-like mountain that is made of lava, tephra, and volcanic ash. And there are actually four types of volcanoes, or at least a main group of them, which are the cinder cones, the composite volcanoes, shield volcanoes, and lava domes. But this is our stratovolcano. So, what is the inside of a stratovolcano like? It's highly viscous, and it will cool and harden before traveling long distances after erupting. Most stratovolcanoes or stratovolcanoes will exceed heights of 2,500 meters, so extremely tall and large. And these are the most dangerous volcano type. They tend to have the largest explosions and can be hard to be around. So, what is the Cascade Range? It's the range of mountains from northern California to southern British Columbia, Canada. Most mountains in this range are over 10,000 feet tall and are extinct volcanoes. Mount Rainier technically is an active volcano, but it hasn't erupted in almost 200 years. So, although it is active, it has not done anything for quite a while. And this mountain range is full of forests, lakes, rivers, and places for irrigation, and ways for people to use renewable energy for their homes in the area or maybe a business they're running. There's a lot of wildlife as well, so it's a very optimal area for any animal or human to live, really. It's a wonderful place. And then there's the Cascadia subduction zone, which falls with the Cascadia mountain range. This lies in an area called the megathrust fault, which is where a megathrust earthquake can happen. And megathrust earthquakes occur at the convergent plate boundaries at a subduction zone, and these are caused when one plate slips under the other, and they cause extremely harsh and powerful earthquakes that can completely remove and shape the ground in entirely new ways. And the Cascadia subduction zone is a very long fault, longer than most. It stretches from California to Canada, and it separates the Juan de Fuca plate from the North American plate, which, that can be a good or bad thing, but megathrust earthquakes, like I said, will reshape the land, and they only happen every couple of years, or every couple hundred years, thankfully, because if they happened more often, I don't think people could live in these areas. Some hazards from erupting volcanoes, which can be a result of a megathrust earthquake, or just in general, a volcano can explode without needing a giant earthquake. That one hazard could be a pyroclastic flow, which Mount Rainier will have when it explodes again at some point. It's a mixture of hot ash, lava, and gas being ejected from the volcano at a fast speed, so you want to stay away from the volcano when it erupts like that for many reasons. It can cause avalanches of hot rocks and gases, and when those avalanches come down bringing all those rocks, they will take other things with them, so that could be houses, that could be trees, it could be animals, humans, and anything in their path will go down with them. And then they can also spew out tephra and giant lahars. Tephra, which is ash, usually will come in the millions for larger volcanoes. So like Mount St. Helens, I believe, when it exploded, had around like 560 million tons of tephra come out of it. And St. Helens is half the size of Rainier, or like roughly half the size. So if Mount St. Helens, which is a very big mountain or volcano, can spew that much, Rainier is going to have significantly more tephra when it explodes again if it has such like a cataclysmic explosion like St. Helens did. And they can also cause lahars, which are mud flows caused by the volcanic explosion, and this will carry materials from the mountain and cause more destruction. It's somewhat similar to a pyroclastic flow, except I would say they're like more watery than they are lava, but they're going to be superheated and still extremely dangerous. You don't want to be near them, and they can leave marks in the surrounding areas of wherever they land. And then here's some history of Mount Rainier. So it started to form around 500,000 years ago, and it formed on top of an old Mount Rainier, which I'm, definitely assuming did not ever have a name. So it'll just be Mount Rainier Senior. um, and the old version of it exploded and basically wiped itself out along with the rest of the Earth shaping. So then our Mount Rainier today started to form on top of it. And for the first 80,000 years of our current Rainier, forming and shaping, it was a very active volcano as opposed to today where it is not nearly as active as it used to be. And then after the last ice age, many of the previous eruptions were preserved in the land, and this helped shape the area of like Washington and probably some Oregon and the mountain itself. So this would eventually lead people to be able to settle there once this was all frozen and hardened and no longer a threat like it used to be. Um, the Cowlitz, Muckleshoot, Nisqually, Puyallup, Squaxin Island, and Yakima people are the original caretakers and people to live on Mount Rainier. My apologies if I pronounced any wrong. That was my, my best effort. But there's nearly 9,000 years worth of native history, and it's represented in this park, which is really amazing that it's actually lasted this long and that people were able to survive and really take advantage of what the mountain had to offer or the volcano, and that wildlife was able to really bring itself out and become so beautiful, and it's still preserved today, which is just amazing to me. I think nature's a wonderful thing. Um, and so, of course, some importance of the mountain slash volcano. It's a primary water source for people and animals in the Puget Sound region and surrounding area. It's a giant glacier volcano, so that glaciers will melt and water will come down, and that provides a lot of natural water for people in that area, and that's extremely important. That allows species to survive. Um, because it's an active volcano, it will erupt again, which is a scary thought, but at the same time, that's very important because that can bring about new land. It can potentially change how people view the land. Like, it's a very uh, diverse opinion, I would say, where it could be a good thing that it erupts again, or it could be a bad thing. But I would say it's a very important thought. And then there's almost 300 species of animals just on the area of Mount Rainier, which is really crazy because, like, it is a very large area, but for around 300 species to live in that one space, that's really incredible, especially for how long I would say most have been there. So it's a really important part of the mountain that it's able to maintain so many species along with being a place humans can visit. Some general facts. Uh, Native American tribes or would call the mountain, I believe it's Talol, which is referring to water and snow because really that's what a lot of the mountain is. It's a giant glacier of water and snow. It's 14,410 feet tall, and it has 369 square miles of national park, which, I mean, the square mileage of what's considered national park could technically be changed, but that's a very large portion of protected land, which is very important to people who care about the mountain, and then obviously the wildlife, the nature, like that's very important. Um, 5,600 years ago, Mount Rainier lost around 1,000 feet of its elevation when it exploded. It had a really bad explosion, and it caused, I believe it was the right half of the mountain to bring down, like the top right of the mountain to come down, which this instability then, brought down a bunch of the mountain, and it lost some of its height and how it looks. So that was a very important explosion in its history. Its last significant eruption was between 1820 to 1854. History at this time was a little harder to keep track of. People didn't have the technology like we have today. It hasn't erupted since then, but it did send a lahar into Baker River Valley, which is, I believe, still there, and has not erupted since this took place. Um, okay, visiting Mount Rainier, it's very beautiful. Um, One must-see place is Myrtle Falls, and it has a long 1 mile hike around a beautiful waterfall. There's also the Chinook Byway, which is a wonderful experience. There's a lot of places you can see as you drive through it. And the gondola from Mount Rainier to Crystal Mountain is another just amazing place to see. Um, so, why did I pick Mount Rainier? I love going to national parks. I've been to 8 currently in my life, and I plan on going to more. And I just think they're really amazing. Like, this preserved natural land that has not been altered by, humans and, capitalism or just the fact of moving to a certain place. I think it's all very interesting and beautiful, and I just love natural places like this. They're just amazing and breathtaking. Rainier is my favorite mountain in the Northwest. I think just this giant glacier mountain that has natural beauty around it is really an amazing sight. And yeah, it's stunning. And so I want to go to as many national parks as I can. My goal is to go to every national park at some point. Um, I have a little coin. It's like a coin pouch, but it's in the shape of a book. I guess like a coin book then. National parks have coins you can buy, and so I collect them for every one I've been to, and I want to fill it up someday. So yeah, I think national parks are just really cool. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope it was sufficient. I hope you were able to gain some knowledge out of it. Um, yeah, here's all my sources pages. Got a lot here. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to message me in the discussion board or on the YouTube comments. Hopefully this video will go to YouTube and not have any issues. Um, but yeah, I hope I was able to provide something of interest to you or give you some new insight. So thank you all for watching, and I really appreciate it.